Greetings, friends. Welcome back. I'm your host, Mark Guido. And this week, we're spending on the central coast of Maine, exploring the area of Mount Desert Island, including the resort towns of Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park. We're going to take you all around the area sightseeing, do some kayaking, and even what I'm coining extreme hiking. So come along.
Time to make the donut.
It's 3:30 in the morning. What am I doing up? This is not a case of insomnia while camping. I've got tickets for Cadillac Mountain Sunrise this morning. Acadia National Park is so popular that they need to limit the timed entry for the Cadillac Mountain Summit Road for limited road capacity and limited parking up on top of Cadillac Mountain. Sunrise is really popular. I got these tickets way back in April when the reservation window first opened, with fingers crossed for good weather. This morning is that morning. So let's head up to the top of Cadillac Mountain and take a look.
Acadia National Park, designated in 1919, sits on the central Maine coastline where it occupies about half of 108 square mile Mount Desert Island, as well as part of the Isle of Haut, the tip of the Schoodic Peninsula, and portions of 16 smaller outlying islands. It's the only national park located within the northeastern United States and remains very popular, setting a record of 4.07 million visitors in 2021. The park includes Cadillac Mountain, the tallest mountain on the Atlantic coast of the United States where we're driving this morning. The mountain summit is the first place in the United States to witness sunrise about half of the year, and you can either hike or drive to the top via a road completed in 1932. So sunrise on Cadillac Mountain is a very popular event. But it looks like we won't witness that sunrise today. For with the arrival of first light, it's apparent that the Cadillac Mountain summit is socked into the clouds, with strong winds and a light drizzle. Skunked on the sunrise, we'll take this opportunity for an early morning drive along the park's 27-mile loop road before the throngs of visitors wake up. Much of this loop road, from Bar Harbor to Seal Harbor, is limited to one-way traffic. Early park designers and developers developed three distinct transportation systems linking the landscape's exposed granite domes, glacial erratics, U-shaped valleys, and cobble beaches. These motor roads, carriage roads, and hiking trails were each designed to have minimal interactions with the other systems, particularly when it comes to separating cars and non-vehicular traffic. I've also got a daytime reservation to drive the Cadillac Mountain Summit Road between 5 and 5:30 p.m. today. Uh-oh. Skunked again. They say that there's a wonderful view of Bar Harbor in the Porcupine Islands from up here, but I can't vouch for it. I could try to score another last-minute reservation for the road, but with this week's weather forecast, I really don't see the point in trying again. I give up. The town of Bar Harbor remains an extremely popular summer and fall tourist destination for residents from across the Northeast. Italian explorer Giovanni da Verrazzano was the first known European to explore these waters in 1524, ahead of fur traders who arrived in the 17th century. They were followed by an influx of summer visitors, then wealthy families, in the 19th century, along with painters from the Hudson River School, including Thomas Cole and Frederick Church. Steamboat service from Boston was inaugurated in 1868, and a cog railway was built to the top of what's now called Cadillac Mountain in 1888. Mount Desert Island became a summer retreat for families such as the Rockefellers, Morgans, Fords, Vanderbilts, Carnegies, and Astors, who constructed elegant estates that rivaled those of Newport, Rhode Island, where we'll visit in a few weeks. For more than 40 years, the wealthy dominated summer activity on Mount Desert Island, but the Great Depression and World War II brought an end to the extravagance. Cruise ships visit Bar Harbor from May through October, and more in Frenchman Bay, with between 150 and 200 ship visits, and more than 250,000 passengers stopping here annually. When we come right back, following a quick ad break, we'll explore Mount Desert Island's other towns, go hiking and kayaking, and more, so stay tuned. Bar Harbor is the busiest, but hardly the only town on Mount Desert Island. Northeast Harbor, first settled in 1761, has a significant summer population and has long been a quiet enclave of the rich and famous. The marina is home to upwards of 200 yachts during the summertime. Our favorite Mount Desert Island town is Southwest Harbor. For us, an ideal compromise between the island's busy tourism and the quiet serenity of the island's far southwestern end. It's home to boat builders including Hinckley Yachts, the Ellis Boat Company, and Morris Yachts. One of the two campgrounds in the Mount Desert Island unit of Acadia National Park is located in Southwest Harbor, at the village of Seawall. Bass Harbor Head Light is situated atop a cliff on the southernmost tip of the west side of the island. In 1855, the U.S. Congress appropriated $5,000 for construction of the lighthouse that was completed in 1876. The parapet's fifth-order Fresnel lens was replaced in 1902 with a larger fourth order that remains in service today. Although the lighthouse itself is a private residence for a local Coast Guard member and his family, visitors can get close to the bell and light via a concrete path that leads to a series of wooden steps descending to granite boulders lining the shore. The village of Bass Harbor, part of the town of Tremont, was once known as McKinley. In the early 1900s, when a post office was built in the village, federal officials asked what the post office should be named. Someone remarked, "Name it after the president for all we care." The post office was named McKinley, and the village was known as McKinley until 1961, when residents petitioned to change the name back to Bass Harbor. Thanks to our need to pick up a part for our kayak, we also caught a glimpse at some of the towns of the central Maine coast on the opposite side of Penobscot Bay. Camden's population of just over 5,000 more than triples during the summer months, due to tourists and summer residents who mostly hail from Boston, New York City, and Philadelphia. Owl's Head, situated on a peninsula that projects northeast into Penobscot Bay, was first part of Thomaston in 1777, but split off and incorporated on its own in 1921. The Owl's Head Light Station was established in 1825 with the construction of a round rubble-stone tower that was rebuilt in 1852. It is a 30-foot tall, cylindrical brick tower on a granite foundation standing atop a cliff and remains an active aid to navigation today. We're spending our week just a few miles off Mount Desert Island at locally owned Timberland Acres RV Park in the town of Trenton, between the island and the commercial center of Ellsworth. Although many of the campground sites are wooded, it's one of the few in the area with a large unobstructed area for our Starlink. Our 50-amp full hookup gravel pull-through site is ridiculously long, over 100 feet, and is costing us $407.20 plus tax with our Good Sam discount, which comes to $58.17 per night, far less than the rates charged by most of the privately operated RV parks on Mount Desert Island. Yet, it's only 14 miles from Acadia National Park and Bar Harbor. Campground facilities include a swimming pool, dog park, shuffleboard and basketball courts, picnic tables and fire rings, a laundry, propane filling station, and even an on-site restaurant, bar, and arcade. You can buy your lobsters right on site, live or cooked. RVers know that there's always something, but you deal with the problem and move on. Rolling into Ellsworth, about 3 miles from the campground, there was a new loud rattle coming from the trailer. About 10 seconds of investigation revealed a broken leaf spring, a likely casualty of the horrific Canadian roads we've been traveling for the past 8 weeks. Life is indeed nothing but a grand adventure. By the next morning, Billy of Maine RV Repair had us good as new for a fair price. Thank you, Billy. The central Maine coast is speckled with drive-ins and lobster pounds seemingly everywhere. You can even combine both treats with a lobster-flavored ice cream at one Bar Harbor eatery. Jordan Snack Bar, just a couple of miles from our campground, delivers tasty fresh seafood and refreshing ice cream dishes. I also got to enjoy one fine evening visiting with viewer Bob Arnold at Down East Lobsters in Trenton. We'll bring you hiking and kayaking when we come right back, following another quick ad break to pay the bills, so stay tuned. We've got a short weather break between lines of showers, so I'm going to visit Acadia National Park's carriage roads with Zoe. Woven into the Mount Desert Island landscape is a historic carriage road system designed and financed by John D. Rockefeller Jr., son of the founder of Standard Oil Company, who believed that transportation on the island should be strictly non-motorized. About 57 miles of crushed stone carriage roads were built, 45 miles of which continue to be maintained inside the park. The network also includes 17 stone-faced bridges and 2 gate lodges. One can explore these carriage roads on foot, horseback, or bicycle, as motorized transportation, including e-bikes, is prohibited. In winter, they are used for cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. It's the perfect peaceful place to walk Zoe today. Most of our week at Mount Desert Island has remained cool and cloudy, as originally predicted. We've been given an unexpected reprieve, though, with a sudden change in the short-term forecast for a day and a half of decent weather. 26 significant mountains rise within Acadia National Park. I was hoping that I could beat the crowd to the top of one of these by arriving before 8 a.m., but I was sorely mistaken. Our hike today begins right at Sand Beach, where beachgoers have already staked their claims at this early hour. Ocean water temperatures here in the summer range from a nippy 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. But we're not relaxing at the beach today. Instead, we're heading up there, to the top of Beehive Mountain for a bit of extreme hiking. The Beehive Loop Trail is rocky right from the start. Rubble without a cause. This trail is not for the faint of heart, or for those afraid of heights. It isn't long before the trail begins its steep climb to the top of Beehive Mountain via rock scrambles, iron rungs, and narrow, unprotected ledges. The popularity of this trail, combined with the obstacles to overcome, has quickly resulted in a traffic jam. Understandably, this section of the Beehive Loop Trail is strictly one way only. At least I get some stupendous views while I'm waiting. And even this early, it's hot and steamy in the sun on our one-day heat wave. The views from the top are indisputably spectacular. You may have noticed this massive sailboat moored in the background in one of our Bar Harbor shots earlier in this episode. This is easily the largest sloop rig sailboat I've ever seen. If I'm not mistaken, this is the M5, which at 254 feet is the longest single-masted sailboat ever built. After summiting, the loop continues towards a small pond called the Bowl. The going remains much easier from here. When you reach this intersection, you can shorten the 1.5 mile loop slightly by taking a left and cutting off the bowl. Some folks were smart enough to bring swimsuits for a dip at the bowl. loop completes with a short grade out from the bowl, after which it's downhill all the way back to the road. It's even busier here now. Arriving prior to 8 a.m. was nevertheless a smart idea. With our short weather window, we're going to take advantage and finish the day with an evening kayak session at Bass Harbor. With its well-protected natural harbor, Bass Harbor ranks as one of the most lucrative lobster-producing ports in Maine. It's terrific fun paddling in and among the hundreds of lobster boats. The village is also the departure point for the Maine State Ferry Service transport to Swans Island and Frenchboro. My initial plans had only called to kayak the harbor, but it's incredibly calm tonight, so I'm going to push my luck and leave the harbor. Once I pass this ferry terminal, I'm officially outside the harbor and out into the open ocean. Only several tiny offshore islands now separate me from Bermuda. A mile and a quarter outside the harbor, I've reached my new objective. Another view of the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse, in better weather and from a very different angle. Even though the seas are quite calm this evening, the currents caused by the ocean's swells interacting with the rocks and cliffs along the shoreline are getting really funky here. I've got a ways still to go to return to my truck, so with the sun dipping towards the horizon, it's time to start heading back to the harbor. So we hope that you've enjoyed visiting the Bar Harbor area of Maine with us. Coming up next week, we're going to be heading for the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So if you're not yet a Grand Adventurer, there is no better time than now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss an episode of Grand Adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd also be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand, though, it's extremely important to us that if you liked this episode, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below is where you'll find the comment section, where we love to hear from you each and every week. So until next Wednesday, from the White Mountains of New Hampshire, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. And we'll see you then.